In the world of global organized crime, few names stir as much fear and intrigue as Necati Neco Arabacı. Once a powerful figure in Cologne's red light district, now spotted in the luxury streets of Monaco, Arabacı's story is a chilling reminder of how crime syndicates adapt and evolve. Necati Neco Arabacı is a name that echoes ominously in the corridors of international law enforcement, a man whose reputation conjures images of leather-clad bikers, illegal empires, and dark corridors of power in the global underworld. From humble beginnings in Cologne to a controversial high-profile presence in the glitzy streets of Monaco, Arabacı's life story reads like a crime thriller with no shortage of violence, manipulation, and legal acrobatics. A dual national of Turkey and Germany, Arabacı is not merely another criminal figurehead. He is seen as a key architect of the Hells Angels' expansion across borders, masterminding a network that thrived on human exploitation, fear, and calculated brutality. Arabacı's descent, or rather, ascent, into the criminal underworld began in the heart of Cologne's seedy red light district. There, amid neon signs and the ever-present scent of vice, he laid the foundations of what would become a highly profitable and sinister enterprise. Posing as a fruit vendor, Arabacı concealed the true nature of his operations, which centered on controlling brothels and exploiting the women within them. These weren't merely dens of prostitution, but tightly controlled environments in which women, many of them trafficked, were subjected to coercion, violence, and degradation. Among the most notorious of his establishments were Babylon in Elsdorf and Weigel in Leverkusen. Authorities later identified both locations as epicenters of organized sexual exploitation and illegal detention. Arabacı wasn't just managing these businesses, he was orchestrating them with military precision, building an empire on the backs of the vulnerable. His operations were so systematic, so deeply entrenched, that they attracted the full force of German law enforcement, who eventually brought him to trial in 2002. That trial would expose the dark underbelly of his enterprise. The charges were extensive and damning: running a criminal organization, forcing women into prostitution, and trafficking human beings across borders. In 2004, after intense legal proceedings, Arabacı confessed to several charges and was handed a 9-year prison sentence. But even behind bars, his capacity for manipulation remained potent. Authorities uncovered a chilling plan he allegedly set in motion to assassinate the lead prosecutor in his case. Though this plot was never conclusively proven and the charges were dropped due to insufficient evidence, the revelation further solidified Arabacı's image as a cold and calculating player, unafraid to resort to murder if it served his agenda. Arabacı's story might have ended behind prison walls, but in 2007, he was released early and deported to Turkey on the condition that he never returned to German soil. For many criminals, exile might mean the end of influence. For Arabacı, it was merely a relocation of operations. Rather than retreat into obscurity, he leveraged his network and notoriety to extend his reach even further. Turkey, with its complex legal systems and lack of extradition treaties for certain crimes, became a strategic base. From there, he operated with near impunity, protected by geographical and political barriers that shielded him from the grasp of Western law enforcement. After being deported from Germany in 2007, Necati Neco Arabacı did not simply fade into obscurity, nor did he slow down his involvement in criminal enterprise. Instead, he embraced a new chapter in Turkey, taking a strategic and commanding role in expanding the reach of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. By 2010, he had established the Turkish chapter of the Nomads, a subgroup of the Hells Angels known for its elite status and relative autonomy. This new chapter was set up in the coastal city of Izmir, a region that provided both geographic advantage and access to crucial international routes. Arabacı was not merely a participant. He was the orchestrator and leader, quickly assuming the role of chapter president and expanding his sphere of influence within the global biker organization. Arabacı's ascent within the Hells Angels hierarchy was further accelerated in 2013 when Frank Hambeth, one of the most powerful and feared Hells Angels leaders in Europe, was arrested in Spain. Hambetha's removal from the scene left a significant power vacuum within the European leadership structure. Arabacı, with his combination of ruthlessness, organizational skill, and international reach, reportedly stepped in to fill that gap. His influence soon extended beyond Turkey, reaching into the operational core of the group's European activities, where he became instrumental in decisions that shaped the gang's activities across the continent. This positioned him as a central figure in a transnational criminal ecosystem that was becoming more sophisticated and harder for authorities to infiltrate or dismantle. By 2015, Arabacı was no longer just a concern for German or Turkish authorities. His name had surfaced in a European arrest warrant issued by Spain. The Spanish authorities accused him of being at the helm of a wide-reaching criminal syndicate involved in racketeering, drug trafficking, and overseeing a network of illicit brothels. These accusations reflected a long-standing pattern of criminal behavior that spanned borders and jurisdictions. However, due to Turkish law, which prohibits the extradition of its own nationals to face foreign prosecution, Arabacı remained well beyond the reach of Spanish law enforcement. No matter how compelling the evidence or serious the charges, his Turkish passport functioned as a shield, effectively making him untouchable by European courts. More recently, in late 2024 and into the early months of 2025, Arabacı re-entered public consciousness not because of another indictment, but due to his highly visible presence in one of the world's most exclusive enclaves, Monaco. Known for its luxury yachts, casinos, and an elite that values discretion above all else, Monaco seemed a strange setting for a man with such a notorious criminal past. Yet Arabacı was spotted and photographed multiple times in the city-state, prompting renewed media attention and raising eyebrows among law enforcement agencies and investigative journalists. His presence in such a high-profile location, surrounded by the trappings of immense wealth and privilege, was jarring in contrast to the decades he spent building a criminal empire based on fear, violence, and coercion. His reemergence in Monaco did more than just grab headlines. It served as a stark reminder of the incredible resilience and tactical evolution of the Hells Angels. The fact that Arabacı could operate so openly in a country known for its tight security and international visibility demonstrated the biker gang's mastery of transnational logistics, legal loopholes, and public perception. Through a carefully orchestrated mixture of legal ambiguity, strategic residency, and the threat of violence, figures like Arabacı managed to remain insulated from consequences, even as their names appear in criminal files across multiple countries. The case of Necati Arabacı exposes the profound difficulties that modern legal systems face when attempting to combat international organized crime. His continued freedom and visibility highlight how nationality, strategic use of legal protections, and the fragmentation of international judicial cooperation can allow high-level criminals to remain beyond the reach of justice. Despite being on the radar of European law enforcement for years, and despite numerous allegations of heinous crimes in several jurisdictions, Arabacı has never been convicted outside of Germany. The protections offered by his Turkish citizenship, combined with the absence of domestic will to prosecute him further, have created a legal safe zone from which he can continue to operate without fear of extradition. Authorities in both Europe and the United States have pointed to this situation as emblematic of a broader problem: the growing inability of national institutions to address the truly global nature of modern criminal syndicates. Motorcycle gangs like the Hells Angels have evolved far beyond their origins as loose brotherhoods of outlaws on bikes. Today, they are multinational enterprises with complex hierarchies, vast financial resources, and operatives who understand how to manipulate the borders of nation-states to their advantage. Arabacı's ongoing freedom, despite the long list of allegations and years of suspicion, is perhaps the clearest example of this disturbing trend. As of mid-2025, Necati Arabacı continues to live as a free man. There are no known efforts by Turkish authorities to investigate him further, nor are there any signs that he will be handed over to foreign governments seeking to bring him to trial. He remains, for now, a ghost in the system, a man who built his career on crime, survived incarceration, manipulated geopolitical boundaries, and now enjoys a life of luxury with impunity. He stands not just as a member of the Hells Angels, but as a living emblem of the tenacity, adaptability, and dangerous influence that modern organized crime can wield in an increasingly interconnected world.